How
Oh yes.
was his British accent? Let me be honest.
Hell yeah.
It's not great, but fuck me if he doesn't commit to it. It's really not great. And you can hear.
I thought it was good. Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where we definitely see Ed Ball right here on YouTube. So come check out our YouTube channel and you can see Ed Ball up close and personal in his red jacket. But don't worry, if you're on the podcast, keep listening because we have some juicy, nerdy goodness for you today. We're going to talk about some news. We're going to talk about Moon Knight, baby. And then we're going to talk about our reactions to the Oscars. Bada boom. How are you guys feeling? It's me, Luis Gonzalez, and with me are...
Miguel Sanchez.
And Ed Bull.
I love them, and you love them too. Subscribe, everybody. We have 2 followers on Twitter. We're doing great. Okay, so let's jump right to the news, everyone. We're going to talk about The Flash. Have you heard about this, Ed? What's going on with The Flash? He got arrested in Hawaii after an incident at a bar. Okay. Apparently, people were karaokeing. He wasn't, happy about the karaoke choices. He ripped a microphone from somebody and then lunged at a man playing darts. Miguel shared
You'll get
the
hurt
story
doing
with us.
that.
No, I think that was Ed. Ed shared it. He read it.
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh, just as well they moved the Flash back to next year, right?
Oh, yes.
Just one more year. It feels like every month Ezra... I'm sorry, I almost said Miller.
Miller.
He's seems to just be doing something silly every month. He's kind of like one of those just wacky-do like Hollywood celebrities that you're like, no one knows what he's going to do next, but it's probably assault someone.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I was surprised to see that this isn't the first time that he's had problems.
No.
Right?
No, I was just reading the other day. Like, it was just last month he was threatening the KKK in, like, Virginia or something. He was either traveling through the area or filming a movie.
That's right.
Yeah,
you said it was chaos. He's chaos good.
Yeah, he's absolutely. He's the chaotic good. Like, he's assaulting people, but he's also threatening the KKK. Like, yeah, we should be threatening them.
It's kind of like Thanos, equal.
Don't put that in there, all right? I'm not.
That's out there.
I'm not
promoting,
black
I'm not
section.
Violence,
okay, no violence. We don't like violence, and you'll soon learn more about that later in the podcast in the Oscar section. Great, Flash. I hope we get the Flash movie fast. Now, if you're following Top Gun Maverick, you might have been like, damn, when was that movie going to come out? Well, little did you know that it was supposed to come out a lot of times. July 2019, June 2020, December 2020, July 2021, November 2021, and now we got a new trailer. And it's slated to come out May 27th, 2022. I didn't see it, but somebody in this group did.
That is insane, first off, the amount of times that they delayed it. So I think the 2019 one was just like a typical like Hollywood delay. Like movies get delayed all the time. And I don't think anyone saw anything wrong with that at the time. And then COVID happened and kept happening. And it's just like, it's so insane that I've seen maybe 17 trailers for this movie and it's still not out. But yeah, I watched the new one. It looks okay.
I feel like it's just I'm gonna get the same vibes of the last one.
Have you seen Top Gun?
Different.
Have you seen the first one?
Yeah, I've seen the first one.
Ed, you saw it too, right? Yep.
Oh, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens. What we call we have a mistake in the business. That's not really what it's called.
Loosey-goosey.
Louis got ourselves a loosey-goosey. No, Ed's frozen in our video chat, so we're going to continue this conversation. He'll come back.
He'll be here before you know it.
For our avid listeners in episode 2. Yeah.
Top Gun.
For our listeners in episode 2, what's that? What's up? Talk to me. We're overlapping. It's because we're on the internet, but that's cool.
I keep interrupting you, and that's my bad.
No, that's okay.
No, it looks okay. Like I like I'm a sucker for like a real popcorn movie, and it looks like one. Tom Cruise does that very well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like it's kind of disappointing he's not actually flying that plane in this movie. It seems like something he obviously wanted to do, and I feel like they should have given that to us.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I tell you what. So far, it's scheduled to come out next year, 2023. I think. You know what, Luis? Let's go ahead and we'll plan a vacation right now. 2025. I'll fly to you. We'll actually watch Top Gun in theaters then.
When Top Gun finally comes out.
When it finally comes out.
I love it. And if you want to come join us, just hit us up at Punch Drunk Nerd and tell us your address. We'll pick you up.
Bro, I mean, honestly, by that time it actually comes out, we'll have like an Omaze link at the bottom of our screen to be like, you can come join us at the
I don't even know what an
Top Gun
Omaze.
premiere.
What's an? I've seen Omaze and I've seen the logo. I just don't know what it does.
Omaze is like a charity. Are you serious right now? Omaze is like
I don't know what that is.
Yo, subscribe for the sick ass Omaze content right here. No, Omaze is like a charity, and like all these celebrities, they'll be like, "Fucking come see me on the red carpet." That's Robert Pattinson. I don't know why I did that. Come see me on the red carpet if you donate, and they'll pick your name. It's like a lottery charity
thing. I think I have seen this. A long time ago now. Okay.
No, you work.
Well,
by
then we'll have Omaze.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know.
No, we won't have Omaze. They will have us. Okay.
Okay. Beautiful. To our last piece of news before we roll into, a little bit of something. House of Dragons, we finally have an air date for it. It's going to come out 8/21/22. That's August 21st, 22nd on HBO.
It's a Leo, like me. That's good.
Right. Now, as a Leo, what should we expect from this show? Coming out during
representing all Leos right now. Let me go ahead and tell you what we're thinking. It's about to be a hit. All right. Okay. Number one. All right. Everyone's blonde. Blondes have more fun. That's absolutely the Leo spirit. So we're definitely looking forward to House of Dragons. Game of Thrones. It sucked in the end. Maybe, just maybe, we'll have like a resurgence of that quality television we've been looking for. Yeah. Hey, people love Better Call Saul. You know what I mean?
They do.
Sometimes,
it's true.
Sometimes a spinoff will just take you to the moon. And we're going to be flying on the back of dragons, baby. Let's go.
I love it. Let's go. We're doing it. And we're doing it without other co-host, Ed. Now, here we go. We're going to talk about, I don't know. What do we want to jump in the Moon Knight
let's pause for a second. Let's pause for just a quick second.
Let's pause.
Let's talk about something silly.
Okay, we're going to talk about something silly. Let's see. Let's call the audience. Hello.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
This is a terrible.
I don't know. Are we doing an improv? Are we improv right now? No, we're really excited. First off, let's talk about how good you look right now. Are you in? How many pieces of a suit are you wearing, dude?
I almost got a vest. Vests were huge in like 2004.
Bro, you don't have to fucking tell me, dude. I knew about.
But no, I didn't bring that. I didn't bring back that aught fashion. You know what I mean? So they call it the aughts, 2000s.
I don't like that. It makes me feel old.
I'm wearing a Slytherin style thin tie that you might find somewhere in the eras of the 50s. And I have a green jacket with a black shirt that matches my Slytherin tie.
You look beautiful.
And if you're on YouTube and you're like, why are these gentlemen dressed up to their 10s? It's because we're celebrating the Oscars today, okay? You won't see us like this any other time of the year except during the Oscars. And I do love watching the Oscars. I know a lot of people don't like watching the Oscars, but I think it's a fun time. You know, it's art's subjective in the first place. This is just like a fun hootenanny thing. Like, that doesn't really matter.
And I guess we'll talk about this later, but there was definitely some big moments this season. And I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe it's like an every other year situation with the Oscars. We're going to get some fun, crazy, wacky moments. And I'd love to talk about more of them, but we'll wait until Ed gets back. Because really, I mean, Luis, I don't know about you. I'm not as big into the Oscars as Ed is.
Yeah, I think I feel like I'm in between you and Ed, which is, you know...
That's a good middle ground.
It's a good middle ground. I do kind of like... This is actually the first year where I watched a lot of the Oscar films because we were doing this podcast, but I was kind of excited. I like seeing the speeches. I like seeing the montages, you know, that inspire me to why I like movies again. I was just like, damn, this is cool. And it's like... It's the cool club. Like, if you're an actor and you finally go to the Oscars for the first time, you're like, I've entered the fucking cool club. Do you know what I mean?
Bro, you and I were sharing some thoughts, and I definitely want to talk more about that as we get into our Oscar talk
here.
We're
teasing these people. We're teasing
in just
them
a little bit. You're tickling them right there.
Give a little tickle here and there.
Man, I tell you what. Hey, I tell you what. Let's talk about Zoe Kravitz for a second. Zoe Kravitz was
you had some news about Zoe Kravitz, yeah.
This does kind of lead into the big moment, and look who just joined us, Ed. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Keep rolling.
We're talking about the one and only Zoe Kravitz.
No, but now that Ed's back, we can take a step back from the Oscars for a moment, because Zoe Kravitz, she's on the table. We'll talk about her in just a minute.
Okay, great. I love this. You'll never know what you're going to get when you listen to Punch Drunk Nerd.
We'll edit it. So, cut it right out. It's fine. Sorry, Luis, take it away.
Yeah, no, this is great. You know, we have Edward Ball back again, and we're going to talk about Moon Knight, the new superhero phenomenon on Disney Plus, starring Oscar Isaac and my boy Ethan Hawke. Actually, Oscar Isaac is more my boy than Ethan Hawke is, but
that would be a weird boy to.
Yeah.
Your weird uncle.
But it's super exciting. But Ed, since you were just joined us, why don't you get us right into it and tell us your thoughts on Moon Knight?
Okay, here we go. So one episode in, I can't say I know a lot about Moon Knight, not Moonlight. It only, we have our friends Sean Carter and Josh Brown who have told me a few things about it, but overall I've kind of tried to remain ignorant and just see how it comes, which has kind of been my approach to the whole Marvel universe, because I really didn't know much about any of the characters beyond, the Hulk, Spider-Man. Anyway, so this was interesting to go into, and the first episode, I gotta say, really kind of pulled me in. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought I liked that they didn't really show Moon Knight, the character, until the very end. And spoiler alert, everybody. Oh
yeah, spoiler alert for all of this.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the first episode of Moon Knight yet. So far, I would say it seems promising. I'm very excited. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, have you seen Moon Knight?
Yeah, I watched it today. It came out, so I felt like giving it a shot. I definitely was a little in and out. Like sometimes I'd be peeking at my phone just a little bit to see, what's going on my phone, and then I realized, oh yeah, I should actually be paying attention to the show that we're going to talk about. I do kind of like that it's a buddy comedy so far. At least that's what I think it's going to end up being. But that it's just like Oscar Isaac's, personalities playing with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking, like, who's his buddy, the goldfish?
No.
I was like, is this buddy Ethan Hawke? Like, what a weird buddy. Who's his buddy? The goldfish?
No, he's like, I'm multiple personalities, right? Like, I was paying attention.
I understand.
Right?
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
I thought I was coming in with like a dunk on a comment on this show. That's okay.
No, because you kind of get that moment at the end, and when he has the mirror conversation.
That was really when, like, early on, I could tell. Okay, they're definitely saving it till the end from this episode. We're not going to see him much at all. And I thought, as far as the episode set up, you know what I mean. It felt very earned by the time we got to it, and I like how they focused on his Steven character's persona or whatever for most of the episode, and then kind of like right at the end he talks to him in the mirror for the first time, and it's like a switch. I was super into it. I was definitely, like Ed said, I was very pulled in by the end, and I'm looking forward to maybe seeing a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be super exciting, and I feel like what we got in this first episode is going to be, it's just a tease of what's to come in the next episodes. Like, I don't even think we're fully into the story yet. This is like the prologue to like Moon Knight, because we just were dealing with Steve. We're just getting introduced to like all of these problems. And now that he's like, we're seeing Mark Spector, who's the mercenary, who's like taken, the powers of Khonshu into his hand. Like, we're finally get to see him come out. I think things are going to get like darker and crazier and hopefully a little bloodier, but like also more fantastical with all those different elements. I was reading somewhere that the way that they kind of are framing this is Indiana Jones meets Fight Club together.
Oh,
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you mentioned a couple of things. First off, Luis, have you read the comics? Are you familiar with Moon Knight?
So you know what, they just started doing actually a new line on recently, and it makes sense. Anytime like a new movie comes out, new show comes out, the Marvel Comics will come up with a line of their own. So this is like, I'm reading the new line by
cool.
McKay and Cappuccio, and so but really no, I haven't read it, and I know that there's different iterations that have changed. Long answer, no. I know iterations have changed ever since he's been introduced. He came up trying to be like, I'll say like a Batman version of Marvel, and it's kind of evolved and transformed into different things. And it's like every person who takes ownership of that like comic series usually does their own spin and interpretation. So,
and it seems,
I feel like this is new for everyone.
It seems like they're trying to combine all of those elements with the show. Maybe that they might be, and just making it multiple personalities of that character. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, well, I know originally he didn't have the DID, which is like the dissociative identity disorder. Sure. But now, recently, it became like a thing that he has, and he has like these 3 characters. One of them is Steven, which I think Stephen Grant, and then Mark Spector, and then another dude that I forget. But
who, obviously we haven't met yet.
We haven't met yet. We know who knows what other additional like identities we might meet. But yeah. I will, what else are you gonna?
I will say you mentioned the violence. I'm surprised that people are expecting to maybe see ultra violence, and maybe that's Kevin Feige's issue by quote like saying something like, "Oh, it's like Fight Club meets whatever you just said." What was the other one? Indiana Jones. Because that's a very extreme movie. So, like, you've already seen reviews kind of comparing it to Daredevil, and I feel like going into this, I knew at least that Disney was never going to let it get too violent, nor Marvel, because that's just the standard that they've set. So I don't, like, it might be a little bloodier than normal, but I'm not expecting, like, oh, fuck me, that was, like, Viper versus the Mountain.
It's not going to be like that Punisher scene in Daredevil when he's just, like, destroying people in the jail cell. I don't know if you've seen that.
I wish I had, Luis, so I could get your reference, but no.
Super bloody.
Yeah.
It won't be, obviously, like, Quentin Tarantino.
Did you guys see this week someone commented on the internet that Disney is going through and editing some of their shows to make them less mature?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Falcon and the Winter Soldier had a couple of scenes that were edited just recently.
Serious?
Yeah, like there was like I don't have the examples in front of me, but a couple of them are like, a guy got punched up and so he's really bloody. Okay, and then in the edit they've gotten rid of the blood, so it's not as grotesque or whatever.
And his eyes were open, but now they're closed.
Yeah, for whatever reason, that's something they're saying. Yeah, he is dead, but like in a PG-13 way.
He died peacefully.
And I was talking like on our first or second episode about how I had just gotten a notice from Disney, as far as like you have to update your account to make it say like you'll accept those TVMA type violence or whatever. So I definitely think this is a transitory period for Disney Plus. Like, are they going to try to capture some of that vibe of like, say, the Netflix Marvel shows like Daredevil and Punisher being a little bit more violent, or are they going to start to sanitize all their properties to kind of fit within that Disney mold, which I kind of feel like is the way we're leaning. So we'll see.
Well, I did want to talk about a few things. I had some thoughts about, I think, having Moon Knight coming to the MCU is a huge, like, I don't know. It signifies a lot of what's coming to the MCU, and I wanted to talk about a few of the things that kind of stood out to me.
Sure.
I feel like a lot of the movies that we're seeing have to deal with a few things, like 3 things. That has to do with facing your identity, gods, and dimensions. But mostly like facing your identity, like Spider-Man, multiple Spider-Men talking to each other, trying to figure out who they are, like trying to relate. And then there's going to be Doctor Strange coming out, and then there was the 2 Lokis, and then there were the 2 Visions, and there's this thing happening now with Moon Knight where there are multiple versions of himself, and it just seems like we're entering into a phase where superheroes are being like super reflective and
absolutely
and going through this identity journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the second theme that's coming up is a lot of gods are coming out. So you have Khonshu, the Moon Knight. You have the Celestials. You have Thor and all these things. And we have Gore, the God Killer, who's coming for Thor movie. And his whole thing is that he's going to give justice to gods. And so I wonder if he's going to like start influencing all of these gods that we're seeing now.
Ooh.
And then a lot of dimensions. We have dimensions in Shang-Chi. We have dimensions in Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch. The multiverse is expanding, and I think it's just going to get so ridiculously big that the end of all this, we're going to have, I don't know if you guys heard of it, but Secret Wars. It's kind of a way to like eliminate all of these worlds at once, and everything just kind of shrinks back down to one thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and so I think we're going into this very expansive place where we're going to look at different dimensions and worlds and timelines and parallel universes so that we can just collide and combine into just one thing again. And almost, I mean, this is going to take years. So by the time they even get to that point, they'll be able to reboot whatever they want because in Secret Wars, that's kind of what they do. It's like everything ends, now we're starting over again. You know,
something I remember when the first Avengers came out was just like, wow, to myself thinking, wow, they're really going to like set up movies to feel like comic books, you know? And that was in such a simplistic form when the Avengers, they got 6 of them together and we were like, oh my God, Iron Man and Hulk are in the same movie. That's wild, you know? And now it's just so much more expansive. I never dreamed that like it would be so... so many layers to this thing, and I'm kind of wondering how general audiences are going to look at Marvel in the next 5-10 years. Are we going to eventually have like a fade out of a big chunk of people because they just can't see 10 movies a year?
That's the thing,
and all the shows.
The thing, it's like and all the shows. I mean, they're trying to be like the comics. I mean, this medium is becoming very, very, very much like a comic, where there are so many comic books and so many storylines that it is impossible for you to keep up or read or to know where to go. You know what I mean? You really just have to pick your favorite characters and then just jump on board. And there's going to be something that you don't know. Like, you just have to accept it. Like, this world is like a spider web that's ever expanding, and you're just looking at a tiny bit of that web. Yeah. And you just have to take your time to move around. And that's like the genre of comics brought into the movie, literally working into the meta of your like viewing. You know what I mean? It is getting ridiculous. It's getting huge. It's hard to keep up. And at some point you're just like, well, I'm just going to watch this because there's no way I can watch like over 25 movies and all of these shows.
It's exhausting.
And it's like it's a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? When I try to start comics. Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say, have you guys seen all of the Disney Plus superhero shows thus far? Like,
I have not watched Hawkeye yet. Hawkeye is the one I haven't watched.
I didn't watch that one either.
I think we need to. It was one of the better rated ones.
I think the last couple episodes were definitely my favorite of Hawkeye. It just kept getting better and better.
Okay. See, we started it and we just got kind of like, we pivoted to something else and we just never finished it. And now Moon Knight's coming out, and that I already feel myself being like, oh shit, I'm already kind of like, I'm going to be missing some threads every now and then. I'm just going to have to assume.
With Moon Knight, it's so like standalone-ish. You know, I think they're coming at it to where it's like it doesn't really have a strong connection with the rest of the MCU. It might be like hints and little things here. But I think for the most part, if you just want to jump into something fresh without the weight of knowing anything, it's like a good place to go. But for Hawkeye, I think, what was it, 4 and 5? Oh, I think it's episode 5 that is like my favorite of the season.
Well, we'll have to check it out.
4 and 5. Yeah. Episode.
Can we talk about some moments or just bits of this episode?
Yes.
Kind of break it down a little bit.
I love that idea. Talk about your moments.
Well, first off, I really enjoyed Oscar Isaacs in this. I thought he clearly is having a good time with it. And I'm glad they kind of started off with a not cool character, and they didn't dive right into his perspective of the action kind of thing. Like, he would black out and then suddenly it happened. Like, it was all like everybody was dead on the floor or whatever. I loved that. That was like just like a great little twist, but it kept you invested. You didn't feel like you were missing out. You just thought like, oh fuck, this poor guy. And that chase down the mountain in the cupcake van was great. Yeah. What so much fun. And the way that Oscar Isaacs was reacting to everything that was going on whenever he would black out and wake up again was great. He played it so well, and it really does. Like you were saying with the buddy comedy, I think it really is setting up potential for a lot of fun gags between these split personalities.
I absolutely agree. I loved early on in the episode, he's like calling his mom and he's like, I'm not sleeping well. I wake up every morning like I've been hit by a train or something. Yeah. And I thought that was nice dialogue to kind of like allude to what we're about to get into.
Yeah. And he's got like restraints on his bed. and going on that first date, he's just like, probably shouldn't talk about the restraints on the bed. Automatic red flag right there. It's like, fucking, yeah, but...
Great physical like acting to physical comedy, like with the whole like holding the scabbard and then moving it back.
Oh
and,
man, yeah.
Like trying to give the scabbard to Ethan Hawke, and it just keeps
because that's something
forward.
that
His
would look
physicality is so good.
It would look so cheesy if it's not done cleanly. You know what I mean? And I agree. That moment was very believable because okay, he's committing to this. So I definitely applaud Oscar Isaac's. Ed, I'm going to ask.
How was his British accent? Let me be honest.
Hell yeah.
It's not great, but fuck me if he doesn't commit to it. It's really not great. And you can hear...
thought it was good.
But he does it so well. Like, it's consistent throughout. It's like, I would say it's a better it's a better accent than what Benedict Cumberbatch did in Power of the Dog.
Wow.
I have a question.
You're right about consistency. It's like if you, let's say it's the worst accent you ever heard, but every time he makes it the worst accent you ever heard, you're like, okay, at least that's this character's way of speaking.
Yeah.
And it becomes believable.
And
one of the things that the reason why I texted you when I was watching the episode, Ed, was because like within like Oscar Isaac's like first 25 lines of dialogue, he had hit like all the staple like British words. He was like wanker, bugger, bollocks. And you just
later skater.
Wow, they gave him like a bingo sheet, and they were like, fill that bitch in.
Yeah, basically.
Right, go ahead.
Yeah, no.
I mean, even at one point they say the boogeyman, and Ethan Hawke says boogeyman, and Oscar Isaac's like, you mean bogeyman? I was just like, oh god.
What region was that accent, Ed, that he was trying to do?
I mean, it sounds like London, but he's obviously got kind of like a higher pitch and kind of like a lisp almost. He said like his R's are like dweems kind of things.
Dweems.
Like, I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams. It's not as bad as that, but you know what I mean?
No, it is, though. It is just that bad.
But I buy into it.
I did too. His mannerisms, his whole, his body movements, just like everything. The fact that he's committing so hard to it is what makes it convincing. And at the
why did I say it like that?
Yeah, I got into it very quickly. I was just like, all right, this is it. And in trailers it sounds worse because it's like little splices of dialogue, and you're just like, fuck me, that's awful. But like we were saying, consistency, and he does it the whole way through. And then when you hear him talking to himself in the American accent, you're just like, I dig it, because it's the characters that differentiate it and what sells it.
I have to talk about that moment because that was the biggest moment for me of this entire episode. What was so great was that we were seeing this character, and even like whatever voice in his head he was hearing kept calling him the idiot or whatever. And the point I was going to make was his accent being so bad, like the fact that he was the idiot character and also talking, you know what I mean, and not the greatest accent or whatever. It just like kind of, it gives his character more weight. I'm like, I believe this character.
Definitely.
But the coolest moment was he had kind of been talking to the mirror a little bit throughout the episode, but you don't ever see who he's talking to. And then when they cut to it right at the end, and it's like the Oscar Isaac's the other character talking to him in the mirror for the first time, I was hyped. And especially when he was like, you're not going to die. Let me save us right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the line that sold the whole show for me. I was like, yes, dude, I want to see these characters interact forever.
Yeah.
And I am totally down to see where it goes. I was 10 out of 10.
I thought that the CGI on that whatever creature it was looked a little rough.
On Khonshu. That's what I was thinking too. I feel like there were some shots where they could have just put
practical effect.
A person. Yeah. Like they could have practically done that. Like there were shots when he appears in the back and he's just huge and tall, and that's all you kind of see. Like put something practical there, and if you can't do the the little cloth or whatever, what are they fucking called? The wrappings. Yeah, if you can't do the wrappings practically, then I'm fine with if you add that in post. But everything felt too CG.
Well, just like it was very blurry and quick. I felt like. Also, that deep voice, the first voice that starts talking to him, Khonshu, that's voiced by F. Murray Abraham, if I'm not mistaken. Which, as soon as I heard that, I was just like, oh, fuck yeah, he's in this too. Great. F. Murray Abraham from Amadeus and The Grand Budapest Hotel. He's an Oscar winner, everybody.
The name sounds so familiar. I definitely know the name F. Abraham,
he's in
but I'm just blanking on his face.
Scarface. Yeah, look him up. You'll recognize him immediately. But to have him also kind of, if he's just like the voice in the head too, it's going to be a fun interaction. Quick question.
He's going to be prominently in there.
Yeah, a quick question about the costume. I gotta say, it doesn't seem very practical. It seems heavy. It's like he's wearing a lot of curtains on. It's just like heavy drapery. It doesn't seem practical at all. What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's I think it's like.
I mean,
supposed to be more threatening, like visually, theatrically. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't wear black because he doesn't want to hide in the night. He wants everyone to know he's there. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
Interesting.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's why. I mean, it's very theatrical. But yeah, I do feel you. You can feel like the pad. You can just feel padding when I look at the costume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will say this. You said padding, which made me kind of think of something. I think the worst superhero costume I've seen so far is actually a DC movie, and it's Shazam. I hate the Shazam costume.
It looks so fake.
I think it just looks so fake. Like Henry Cavill in that suit, you're like, I believe you're muscly. I don't believe the Shazam guy
he said at one point in an interview, I think he said that those muscles weren't fake.
You know what?
Maybe he's just disproportionate.
Like,
I agree with. Like maybe they bulk him up a little too much and it doesn't look believable. And I'm not knocking on the guy. You know what I mean? Maybe he's working out, he's getting strong. I'm not knocking him. But it's like,
I don't know if you've seen The Boys, but like, or at least you know of The Boys. And the guy in the one who's like, fucking Superman, who's like flying around. He is like not that big at all in real person. If you see him, I saw him in an interview and I was like, holy crap. Like you look like a completely different person because like that completely just adds like a whole figure. Yeah. He looks like a scrawny guy. And I couldn't believe how it worked.
I don't mean to go on a tangent, but it kind of ties into the Ezra Miller news. Did you hear that the guy that plays him, I'm blanking on his name, in The Boys, he plays the Superman character. I'm blanking on his character name too. But the actor.
Oh yeah, okay.
The actor himself, he was in a bar. He was shooting some movie in some other country, and he was in a bar and got into a bar fight and was basically like, "Do you know who I am? You don't want to mess with me. I'm super strong," kind of deal.
Oh
like he made a total ass of himself. And I'm just like,
calm down. You're in Prime
these
Video.
celebrities need to calm down.
They really do.
They're not superheroes in real life.
We're so
Side note: watch The Boys on Amazon. It's actually pretty good.
It's coming out soon again. It's coming out soon. Miguel, you were talking about those mirrors again, and there was this cool, what's it called? Small detail. When he was freaking out, there was all the mirrors, and there's like mirrors everywhere. There's like reflections on the puddle, and then there's mirrors everywhere, But in that one section in the restroom, which has an incredibly strong door for a restroom, you know what I mean? I couldn't believe how secure that place is. It's like, if you're ever in danger, do go to the restroom.
To the London Museum.
Yeah, but you see the mirrors, and you just see multiple, at that point, I guess, Stevens or different one of them. And then as things get dire and more dangerous, they all disappear in the mirror, and it's just the one Oscar Isaac, and it's Mark Spector. So you have like all of these identities, literally you could see them, and then it's like, focus on me, give the power to me, and I will save us all. And I thought that was such a cool choice, how they were able to like cleanly put visually your eye right at Oscar. Visually show it.
Yes.
I need to watch it again on the TV now.
Honestly, Ed, you're missing out if you watched it on your little phone. All right, that was definitely.
I learned that from you.
Because I don't need to watch some dumb shit on the big screen. You know what I mean? But the Moon Knight seemed like it was something to want to watch.
For sure.
But no, I loved the way they set up this episode. Now I'm cautiously optimistic because I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier had a really strong start and especially a very strong middle of the season was really good, but it kind of waned towards the end. So I'm a little hesitant to see how it's going to go. On a quick comment, I am a little worried about these Disney Plus shows and like, you know what I mean? We were talking about the CGI a second ago, and it's like, okay, well, Marvel normally does really great CGI. What does that mean when we're going to see Disney Plus type shows? Like they're going to be a little more scaled down. But I kind of am just trying to go with the flow on it and just accept it and enjoy it for what it is. So I'm hoping Moon Knight takes us places.
Me too. I got some questions. You know, I want to know, you know, what the evil plan is. I want to know what the Gold Scarab's going to do. Mm-hmm. I want to know who he's calling that he thinks is his mom. And then I also want to know what happened to that fish. Like, did he just die because he didn't feed him for 2 days?
Oh man, and he bought a new one.
And then Mark was just like, well, I got to buy the poor guy a fish or he's going to cry. Yeah. So he went to the store and got him a fish. Like, I was like, oh no, what happened to the guy?
See?
Because even the
comedy, because now we're going to see how he looks they react after to each other.
So, well, I bought you another fish. Well, it would be the American guy, I guess. But
yeah, let's hear your American accent. Go ahead.
Well, I bought you another fish.
Fuck yourself, okay? That's not how we talk.
Well, I bought you another fish.
Get out.
That'll be Oscar Isaac's third.
Yeah, right.
Well, great.
Well, Thumbs up for Moon Knight. Thumbs up. I'm excited. It'll be interesting too because I think in a couple of weeks Obi-Wan Kenobi starts, so they're going to start overlapping.
Yep.
On Wednesdays.
Oh yeah.
Which is weird.
These episodes are going to become 4 hours long.
Are you guys going to make me watch that show, by the way, or can I just trust you'll watch it?
Come on. Join us.
You got to watch Obi-Wan.
I like you and McGregor.
Come on.
Okay, I'll take it. Okay.
It's not going to be long. They're going to be like 6 episodes or something. Yeah. That's it.
And I want to be there when Darth Maul shows up. Wink, wink. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay.
Exactly. You don't want to miss that.
Okay. You're going to want to see when Cal Kestis comes out, Miguel. You're going to be like, oh, I know what's going on.
I played that video game. That's the kid from Shameless.
Yeah, I know. Shameless.
Oh man, do you think he really will show up?
He should.
I saw him on the red carpet.
His character.
At the last Star Wars movie.
Oh, you did?
So no, I was saying I saw him at the red carpet at the last Star Wars movie, and he was walking around. And I was like, oh, they got to integrate him. I mean, he's a great actor. Why not?
His character in the game was interesting enough. I was very engaged while I played him, but he's also just big enough of a star that it's like you're kind of wasting him if the only thing he's in is the video game.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I could see it happening, and if it does, maybe I'll become a fan. We'll see.
All right. Well, there you go.
So that's Moon Knight. Later, Gators. Okay, we're going to move it on to the Oscars. That was my trumpet. Now listen.
Wait, I'm going to put on my jacket.
The Oscars. Hold, everybody.
We came dressed. This asshole.
Done.
Hey,
welcome to the Oscars of 2022. You were going to do that, huh, Miguel?
No.
Oh. Now, we all know what happened at the Oscars. Let's just talk about it real quick, and then we can move on with our lives and talk about everything else that happened.
Yeah, so...
Obviously, yeah. Okay, hold on. I'll say this. Ed, unfortunately, you weren't able to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You weren't able to hear it. I think you just heard me and Miguel frantically texting each other like 20 different times about it happening.
I had like several people text me about it. Okay. All at once. Well, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on right now?
I was watching, okay, so let me just back it up real quick. I was having a conversation with Sarah about the Oscars and about the script that was written for all the talent to read as a presenters. And I was like, this really feels like a comedian wrote this script. You know what I mean? And I feel like you need a comedian to really sell these words, and a lot of the actors weren't able to get the momentum and to get the cadence of a comedian as they were doing these lines. And then Chris Rock comes up and he starts doing his lines, and yeah, that's a comedian. That's a guy who knows how to handle these lines and can get us home. So I'm sitting back, I'm relaxed, and I'm like, thank God we got somebody who can read these lines, and I'm having a good time. And then out of nowhere, okay, when Will Smith slapped him, my jaw was dropped for 10 minutes straight. I don't know about you, Miguel, but I was shocked. I couldn't believe what happened.
So for me, from my perspective, I was watching it on cable television, just on the regular whatever. And I'm not actually sure. So Chris Rock does the joke where he mentions G.I. Jane,
right?
And the comment I made immediately was Jada Pinkett is pissed. Her face was just like, you could tell immediately she did not like it. And I kind of turned to Kristen, and maybe I was tweeting, so I started going to my phone to type something. And I think I actually missed the slap when it happened, or they cut and they tried to edit because it was cable and it was a little bit more of a delay than normal. And so the only thing I saw was Chris Rock was talking, and it froze for a moment, and the look on his face was very worried. And in the moment, I thought some shit was like really happening. I thought like it was a protest or like a gunman or something, and they were about to cut the feed. And then all of a sudden it kind of corrects itself, and it's just on Will Smith, and it's totally silent, but you can tell he's screaming at Chris Rock.
Yeah.
And that is just like you, Luis. I stood up from my chair and I said, because I had just said, something's happening. We should see what's happening. And then it was the person of the night. Like, for me, y'all know this. I was talking about this shit already. All my money was on Will Smith to win this Oscar and him have this like grand second act of his whole career, and then all of a sudden this shit was going down.
I'm telling you, it was so odd to see like there's Chris Rock in place, and then out of nowhere, why is Will Smith walking on stage towards him? And at that point you're like, wait, what is happening? And my brain is breaking, and then you just see it and you're like, my brain is broken, and I can't believe I just saw that happen.
I had 2 tears to it, so I didn't see the slap initially, so all I saw was Will Smith yelling at him, and I was like, oh my God, this is the biggest moment of the night. Will Smith from his seat is screaming at Chris Rock about whatever joke he just made. And it wasn't until several moments later that I was on the internet and I got a clip of him smacking him, and I about threw my phone across the room. I was like, he did what? He got all the way up there and did what? So for me, I was so glad that I was actually paying attention to the Oscars for the first time, because I didn't watch any of these movies. And I was just like, this is for me. This is for the casual viewer. I'm going to be on my phone all night long talking about this. So it was wild.
Wow. It was wild. It was kind of fucked up. But obviously, that's kind of what I'm at.
So we should talk about it, right? We should just real quick. I know everyone's tired of us talking about it, but what are our thoughts? Like, Luis, why don't you tell us what you think?
What do I think? Like, I think it was not appropriate to slap somebody like that in a public forum. I think having a conversation afterwards somewhere else, or even him yelling from his seat, I think I would have been fine with even him yelling from his seat. But I think the fact that he stepped up and actually physically hit him, if I did that at work, even if somebody said something insulting, I would be fired.
You would be escorted out of that building. Regular people can't do that shit.
And what Chris Rock did, what he did, obviously, like, okay, it wasn't a great joke. You know what I mean?
Really
in a sense where it's like, sure, I'll give him, I will give that. I will say that, but he also handled it pretty well. Like, after the hit happened, I was like, wow. You could see him saying, I'm going to punch. No, I'm not. And I'm going to continue presenting. You know what I mean? Like, it could have evolved into something else.
I think the internet agrees for the most part. Chris Rock, I feel, came up on top in that moment. To Ed's point, it wasn't the greatest joke, but it also, to me, wasn't supposed to be. That was the most throwaway thing you could say.
Absolutely.
He was trying to segue into something else. I don't think Chris Rock's intention was to make it any sort of thing whatsoever. And the Smiths just kind of took it there. But absolutely, to your point, Luis, Chris Rock handled it like a pro. And you're absolutely right. He could have immediately unleashed. Chris Rock is one of the greatest comedians of all time. He absolutely could have just gone on a storm of just roasts on the Smith family in general. And the fact that he didn't, it's very classy. It's already supposed to be somewhat of a classy affair. I definitely came away going, I'm a Chris Rock fan. I already was, and I'm more solidified.
I think reading like more about it, because I was kind of just got into a wormhole. I understand some some people think that hair, especially for Black women, it's very sensitive, and it's a subject that he knows very well, because he even did a documentary covering about it. And I think my understanding was that he knew about Jada's condition, and so I can go with them in thinking that, like, okay, sure, maybe knowing
it was insensitive.
It was insensitive, and maybe not the great place to do that in front of a probably more white dominant place. You know what I mean? Like, it's a sensitive subject for Black women, and I think I understand that idea. You know what I mean? But I still don't think he should have been slapped in the face before that.
I think and you know what I mean, take my opinion,
I think yelling
with a grain
would
of
have been
salt
fine,
or whatever.
or do it
absolutely aside. First off, if you are emotionally charged and you're heated and you yell, I think that automatically would have been a really big moment. Like I said, for me, that was my first moment seeing it, was him yelling. I saw a couple comments on the internet and I totally agreed. I think if he walked all the way up to that stage, he absolutely could have just taken the mic for a moment and made a comment on the fact that, you know, hair loss is a big deal, or whatever the subject that was sensitive, and kind of like try to turn it positively around, saying, hey, Chris, I disagree with that, and here's what I think, and still defended the person he was defending without
kind of powerful.
Exactly. And then trying to take that moment and make it more powerful, as opposed to kind of getting lost in your emotions. And really I made a link here to Jim Carrey today, was saying something about it, and I kind of agree. It just totally took away all the air out of the room. That was something we talked about that night. And
I don't
every
even
single
remember
person,
script. Yeah.
Bro, Questlove, like, I felt so bad for him because he got choked up. He was having a very personal moment. He was talking about his mom and his dad, and it's like, that's an example of just every single person that came after Questlove now has to compete with, well, the biggest moment of the night has already happened, and it was supposed to be my moment, you know? And I know we're not crying over celebrities or whatever, but it still just seems like if that was, you know, just on a human level, it just seemed disrespectful. And I definitely, as someone who was so pro Will Smith at the start of the night, I definitely walked away a little sour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ed, what are your since you didn't get to see it, what was your perspective on the whole thing? I know your phone was blowing up.
And of course, like, one of the first videos I watched was I guess it was like the Japanese airing of it that was uncensored. So I saw it and I will say it took me a while to get to the footage of actually Chris Rock's joke. So for the longest time, I was just like, man, it must have been really fucked up. Just like, he might as well have just said, hey, Jada Pinkett, nice fucking hairdo or whatever. But no, whenever I heard it, it was just, man, I mean, I'm not going to go on a rant, because it's really just kind of sat with me all this week so far, and it bothers me. But overall, just like very disappointed. I was in the same seat as you, Miguel. I was excited for perhaps this like new Will Smith renaissance. Maybe see him branching out some more, just like doing some good movies. And all of that was just thrown away in a very kind of selfish way. And
absolutely,
I think, yeah, I mean, I felt bad for everybody else. I know, again, it's the Oscars. It's everybody. It's Hollywood patting itself on the back, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, growing up, you know, we were all big fans of Will Smith at one time or another, and again, like, I've been a harsh critic of him in recent years just because you know, just not the great stuff that he's been putting out. So I was ready for him to win. I was happy for him. I was excited for him. It was well deserved. But then after that, it fell flat. And then also just seeing people kind of just like shrug it off and kind of still give a standing ovation. I don't think it was his acceptance speech wasn't brave or sincere. And if you saw any of the after party at the Vanity Fair after party for the Oscars, I just don't think there was much remorse, to be honest. And, you know, whatever. I'm not going to say what they are feeling, but I'm disappointed, and it ruined what could have been a perfectly good night. You know, would it have been a boring Oscars or whatever? Fine. Whatever. I mean, we're celebrating fucking rich people for doing what they're paid to do, and that's, you know, that is what it is. Get on with it. And hopefully the people that we want to win will win. A lot of people wanted Will Smith to win, but not in that setting, and they just made it about themselves, and that was the saddest thing. And because of everything we know, because all of their shit is out in the open, it's just like, it's just petty and sad. Agreed.
Sorry.
I mean, that's really all I got.
to your point about the audience, and I'm not trying, like I said, I'm not crying over celebrities. If they look bad, they look bad.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I read was just something about like the bystander effect or whatever, and it's just like in those moments, you know, not everyone is going to stand up and say that's wrong. Like Jim Carrey, the next day, he's like a big Hollywood celebrity that came out and kind of like really put it into words why it was wrong. I kind of appreciated that. But in the moment, you're just, like Lupita Nyong'o. You know what I mean? You remember those memes?
I do not envy her
of how she's reacting, because it's just like, now imagine that, and you're in the room, no matter you're sitting behind him or not. It's an awkward moment, and you just don't really know. And also, you're a celebrity that's on camera, so you're not trying to add to that bad press. You're just trying to like think about if the actors that were nominated for Best Actor didn't stand up, then it becomes a statement. Okay, Andrew Garfield didn't stand up for Will Smith because he thought he should have been Best Actor, and it's like, okay, that's not what it was at all.
No.
So to that point, I can understand how it was awkward, and that created that energy to everyone to just be like, okay, well, we'll just do like what's normal, what we know.
Right, that's what it was. You're totally right. Like, since this is very strange, let's just continue clapping and doing the whole like theatrics of it.
And it was whatever's going to happen to Will Smith is not my business. Like someone will come take care of Will Smith, whether it be the law or the Oscars or yada yada yada. You know, it's like, I'm just going to do my part and get on with the night because I don't want to talk about this anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I saw some people who were like standing up, you know, when it was for Will Smith or whatever, and they were just like slowly like, am I supposed to be?
You don't know what, you don't really know how to react.
No, absolutely. It's I mean, for the most part, I mean, I'm sure we were all just like kind of shocked that it actually happened. Couldn't grasp the fact that it actually had happened, and yet here we are still celebrating. And you know, what really sucks is just like throughout the evening, before and after, you saw Will Smith having a really good time. So it just like it was night.
Will Smith's night.
It was, and I just feel like that. I won't go there, but it's just like it was so unnecessary. They made it about themselves, and it ruined it.
Pretty toxic relationship. I feel like we've been hearing about the Smiths for quite some time now, and I just feel so bad for everyone involved. I know a lot of people vilify Jada, but it's like if Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith aren't working out, you know, they both deserve to have their happy lives separately of each other. But
not bring it to public events.
I wouldn't put my personal business out there like that. They chose to,
and that's all that came where it came from.
It's kind of funny that you put so much out there and then you get made fun of because you put so much out there, and then you want to act like, no, that's personal, we can't talk about it.
Yeah,
you already talked about it. You know,
and that's just that's the actions of an insecure man right there. You know what I mean? And you know,
there's a lot going
on, and it's not a simple like, oh, he said something fucked up. Man, you know, just let somebody like Ricky Gervais be there, and then you'd have something to complain about.
Oh, man.
You know,
the internet has been talking about that all week. I mean, Ricky Gervais, and I think Ricky Gervais would have taken a slap and then not done what Chris Rock did. I think Ricky Gervais would have been like, well, fuck you then. I'm ready to go.
Honestly.
I'm ready. I'll spill all the shit. You know what I mean? I think Chris Rock was the example there. I think he did a really good job. And I heard his ticket sales have gone up like 400%. You know what I mean? People are ready to see what Chris Rock has to say in this moment.
That's
and,
true.
Hey, you know,
I will.
It was and
sorry.
I just want to say real quick, like the Chris Rock moment itself was kind of something to talk about. Just like after they had that whole back and forth, and finally Chris Rock was like, "I'm going to move on," and then he tried to just read the prompter, and then he was getting kind of caught up, and it was just like, yeah, I mean, it's wild how you have to try to be professional in that moment. I couldn't believe that Chris Rock didn't just go, you know what, run that shit, and then walk off stage. You know,
the amount of adrenaline that must have been rushing through him.
Yes.
Give anybody a heart attack, honestly.
I mean, he's a comedian, so he knew exactly how to manage that stress and anxiety.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, he was totally focused and able to deliver. Like, that was impressive. In how he was able to keep going some people would have been shot. Like,
he was presenting the award for best documentary, right?
Yeah, he wasn't even hosting. He was just presenting.
And and what sucks is like that the winner of that was Summer of Soul, which Sarah and I got to watch this past weekend. It's a great movie. I would recommend it. And that's like a celebration of Black culture and Puerto Rican culture, and again, that win was taken away from them because of all of that, and it sucks. And
I wasn't even paying.
One thing I want to point out, I sent you. I don't know if you guys ended up reading, but that article by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar really kind of hits the nail on the head on pretty much every perspective of how to look at this. And I would recommend anybody to give it a read. But he just kind of hits on all of those points of how and why it was disappointing and why it was wrong. As much as we love Will Smith, it just wasn't in any standard, no matter who it was. It was just very disappointing.
Let me ask this as we wrap up the Will Smith talk.
Yeah, please.
Like, just projections, just amongst our own opinions. What do we think is going to happen next? You know what I mean? Like I said, I thought Will Smith was about to enter a new phase of his career. Seemed like Ed agreed. What do we think is about to happen? Are we about to see like a blackballing of Will Smith?
I mean, it'll probably lay low for like a year or two, and then come back with something big that people will forget.
I don't know.
I think
as his
numbers
act,
will be middling at best. I don't know. I think it's hard to say. I personally, I've got a sour taste in my mouth. I don't know how other people.
I agree.
That's why I think he's going to come back in 3 years. You know what I mean? He's going to lay low for a while and then come back.
Here's what I think. I think he's going to be kind of on a similar trajectory and he didn't do the same thing, but in the same vein as like Mel Gibson kind of shot himself in the foot.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And was gone for so long. And then when he came back, the big question was like, do we really want Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
I'm worried that that's what we're going to get with Will Smith. Will Smith is going to take a break. He's going to calm down. We're going to quiet down on Will Smith.
Yeah.
And then is he going to come back favorably? That's the question.
Well, I think it's going to be a thing where we're going to have to earn his trust again.
It's going to be an elephant. It's going to be an elephant in the room, and it'll either go one of two ways. It's either going to improve. He might actually gain some redemption, or he's going to do something else just as ludicrous, and it's not going to.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about redemption, I think. I mean, that's why you go to the movies. We want to see our characters like become better and, redeem themselves.
Yeah.
It should happen the same way. I think, sometimes we need room for redemption. So, I'll tell you what.
I wish him all the best.
I'll tell you who.
Yeah.
Yes, I wish him all the best. Miguel, did you want to talk about your favorite moment here about them dressing up as different characters, or?
So I had this note under our hosts. We didn't even talk about the hosts yet. We're talking about Chris Rock. He was just a presenter. We had Wanda Sykes, Regina Hall, and Amy Schumer as hosts of the Oscars this year. When it was announced, it was a little controversial because the internet especially, hates Amy Schumer. But I actually thought, for the most part, even though it felt very like kind of run of the mill as far as like I'm doing comedy, I thought the three of them did a great job. I thought they had pretty good chemistry. And I even, honestly, Amy Schumer specifically, because I know the internet hates her, she made me laugh several times, especially early on in the night.
The comedy script fitting for a comedian. Do you know what I mean? Like,
agreed.
The comedians did the lines
But when you think about it, like Wanda Sykes is a comedian, and Regina Hall, she's an actress, but she has had a lot of really like strong comedic roles under her belt.
Yes, yeah.
All three of them were perfect. I think a good trio for each other.
Agreed.
And I thought, especially with how the night ended up, I thought they held their own for the most part. They had memorable moments that I got a little overshadowed, but I enjoyed them.
Yeah, I finally got to watch the monologue this morning, just the opening one. And yeah, I mean, I thought, like you said, Miguel, very just like, run of the mill, but they made it their own and they made it work. I thought they had good chemistry. So from what little I saw so far, we were in that phase where like, do the Oscars need presenters anymore, or hosts rather? And I was kind of on board of that train. So when they announced this, I was like, okay, do we feel actually ready to go back to that? Do we really need that? And
And to do 3.
Yeah.
So, but they seem like we were saying, they seem to have good chemistry, and I wasn't mad about it. It was
one of the tweets I tweeted early on in the night was the fact that I was commenting on Amy Schumer. I saw Amy Schumer in Houston back in like 2011 or something, like before the she stole jokes accusations or whatever. Mm-hmm. I was having a great time then, and then it was all this internet hubbub about her, and then I felt like kind of hesitant coming into this with her being a co-host, but she had a lot of moments that I was like, okay, she's funny. I'm having a good time. Yeah. The internet may hate her, but let him eat cake. And I will say, although I enjoyed all 3 of them, and I am kind of like, giving a thumbs up to Amy Schumer, she definitely had one of the worst moments for me besides the Will Smith moment. After the Will Smith moment, she finally got introduced again and was kind of like making a comment on it. And I think she was kind of like casually making a pretty good joke. Did something happen while I was gone kind of deal, and kind of moving on. I think that was a great way to acknowledge it without being too forward. But then she pivoted into a joke about seat fillers and then went up to, which I think like on paper sounds like a good bit. Going up to an actor and jokingly calling them a seat filler. But what happened is she went up to the table with Kirsten Dunst and her husband, Jesse Plemons, who were both nominated for Best Supporting Actor and Actress. And then called Kirsten Dunst, who has been in movies since she was a child, a seat filler. And I get that was the bit. But it definitely felt
she was supposed to be in on it, right? Like she was in on the joke.
Yeah, so later that's what Amy Schumer says, is that it was a scripted bit. And I assume it kind of was, except for like one of the pictures made it, you see like one angle where Kirsten Dunst is like way off to the side and she doesn't look like she's enjoying it. But it just felt
I felt uncomfortable. I was like, oh no, now she's gonna get slapped.
Amy Schumer was just like halfway selling a joke and then kind of pivoted right into the cringe that I feel like the internet feeds off of, and it's just like it wasn't the right bit for her, I don't think, even though on paper it sounds like it's gonna work.
And I think Jesse Plemons is a hard like person to play it with. Do you know what I mean?
He's
like,
not.
I don't think
he's not the comedic actor.
He didn't respond well to the bit. He was like,
yeah, that's my wife.
You know what I mean? He was like super stiff. That's my wife. And he was like super stiff. And I was like, ooh, like, I think if you had somebody who's more playful, you know what I mean? Like, Javier Bardem, maybe.
Talking about Javier Bardem for just a quick second, like right before that whole Will Smith slap incident, he was enjoying the shit out of that show. Did you guys see that clip?
Yeah.
Leading up, like Chris Rock is like joking about him and,
he was laughing.
Penelope Cruz.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes!
And Javier Bardem is like, you stop it. Like, he's having a great time. Will Smith's laughing too, which kind of why it fed all into that moment. Like no one expected any of that to happen. I'm not going to over talk. We're not going back to that. But
to your point.
But those. Go ahead.
Sorry. To your point, Louise, you were saying how it felt like a comedian script meant for comedians, but they just had all these different kinds of presenters. The tweet that you shared with us or the tweets, I should say, from Edgar Wright, rang whenever I read them today. They rang very true for me. I felt like, the Oscars have gotten so, and maybe it's just a fine line. Maybe the Oscars might not need to be something that is aired every year, or I don't know what the solution is, but it's like it's always divisive. People either find it boring or controversial, or you have shit like what happened on Sunday, and then but that also detracts from the whole point of what the Oscars are, which is trying to celebrate these movies and all these levels. And what Edgar Wright was talking about was just how we were having these like 5-minute bits with these presenters, only to have somebody win. For them, it's a very it's a monumental occasion. Yeah. Their work is finally paying off, and if you're not an actor or a director or whatever, like for a lot of the smaller roles in filmmaking, that is a big moment, and it's a lot of hard work, and to be played off after 2 minutes or 1 minute, however long they get, it sucks. Like when you put it into that perspective, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We're spending so much time just trying to entertain people, And I'm sure there are different ways about it, and I know it's hard to try and make something like that entertaining, but you're really just missing the point when you're not giving these people their spotlight that they deserve, you know. So shout out to
I
Edgar
agree.
Wright.
I definitely thought his thoughts on the matter was kind of that's when I read that was one of the things that I connected with the most as well. It just felt like if this is not a show to entertain the masses, it's kind of like a film fan's moment, you know. Yeah. And that kind of, and I don't mean to jump too far ahead, but that does kind of make me think about like the Kevin Costner moment, because Kevin Costner came out and was presenting the Best Director award, and it was a little bit of a joke because he was kind of droning on about like film in general, and his experience with it. And you could definitely feel like another moment that was a little bit overshadowed by the Will Smith thing, but also just the fact that he was just kind of like monologuing for a minute. And then the winner got up and kind of made some kind of snide remark about, oh, that was very dramatic. But it was just like, also, he was kind of reveling in the moment of celebrating cinema.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of the vibe that's missing from the Oscars right now. It's just like, it doesn't have to be this this whole show. It really needs to be a celebration about a craft.
For sure. Because they're not just entertaining...
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine if...
Go ahead, Luis.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, I'm fine if, even if, you know, we get to a point where they just put one camera and you just go to YouTube to get a live streaming of the Oscars.
Like C-SPAN.
Yeah, like C-SPAN too. Yeah, just like if you see Senate and you just see people walking up and going, like, I'll still watch that. You know what I mean? Like, if the people who want to watch it will watch it, and you're right, it's hard to toe the line between two things of like making an entertainment show, and recognizing all these people, and trying to keep it in 3 hours, which you'll never do. Yeah. Like you'll never keep it in that time. I don't know who they're fooling.
I think one of the ways to maybe combat that is to make the host, because I really feel like even though they had these three hosts, they really were only in the show for like a very small amount. Yeah. And kind of taking it away from the presenter and more so just from the host. You know what I mean? For me, I think about like Billy Crystal. He was like kind of that gold standard of I'm going to be funny and I'm going to make jokes and we're going to...
But he leaves room.
But exactly, for the other things to kind of exist, you know? And I kind of miss those moments. I thought when the three hosts that were announced, I was a little kind of taken aback as well. One of the comments I read was there's that show on Hulu with Steve Martin and...
Only Murders in the Building?
Yes, that whole trio, Selena Gomez, Steve Martin, and Martin Short, that they were right there. And they absolutely now looking in on retrospect, I enjoyed the three hosts. Absolutely no complaints, for the most part. But those are another three that could absolutely dominate. And if their second season turns out to be as big as they think it's going to be, those are three real contenders to host this show.
I like that. They would be great.
Because obviously, Steve Martin and Martin Short, comedic gods, some of my absolute favorites. And then Selena Gomez, a little bit of a younger generation, and also has really good chemistry with them. That to me is like that kind of like, it harkens back to that like Billy Crystal vibe of Oscar hosts.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would look forward to. Let's laugh at the hosts and let's be serious when it's time to present. You know,
it'd be amazing because it's Hulu. It's on Hulu. Hulu is a Disney property, and ABC's owned by Disney.
Yeah.
You guys,
ABC hosts the Oscars again. It's right in the contract, It's in the same family.
I'm telling you, if season 2 is big, that those trio are right there. I'm honestly, fingers crossed, praying for that shit to happen. So we'll see.
Good call.
Wonderful. I wanted to talk about these fan voted awards.
Oh my god.
Oh, bud.
Okay. I didn't know about these until they were happening, and they had the cheer moments that they went up, and they had all these different ones. And for the time that we're in, I'm sorry, I forget them. But the last couple ones were obviously Endgame, which is like, duh. You go on YouTube, and one of the biggest searches when you type Endgame is audience reaction.
Like, and that chills. Chills will come up to this day.
And then I was like, 3? was like, that's pretty early in the list. It should be 2 or 1. All right. And then we do Spider-Man. I was like, okay, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Spider-Man even overdoing that part. You know what I mean? Like the Thor one, it's like 10 years in the making for that one moment. He never said Avengers Assemble until that moment. Spider-Man, of course, amazing. And then when we got to the Justice League part, I was so taken aback and shocked that was the number 1. And then you texted me and you're like, yo, these are fan voted. And I was like, of course. Yeah. The Snyder fans came out in droves just to smash voting. They were just like they came as a horde to vote and to push out the real one. Because that wasn't even in theaters. That was in home. That one moment was not even a theater moment. It was we had to watch it through HBO Max. How could there be cheers for a moment like that?
I'll square up right now with the Restore the Snyderverse folks. Like, if we all 3 want to gang up on them and our podcast dies because of them, fucking whatever.
They're like Trump supporters.
I cannot stand that movement. I almost watched, so I've been telling you guys I've been doing like a Marvel rewatch. Not that I'm like a Marvel fanboy or anything.
Oh, shut up.
But I've been doing the Avengers. Hey, all right. Only because DC's been fucking up. But no. No. Beforehand, I was all Batman all day. You know, when Iron Man came out, I said, who? You know? Who? But no, the Snyderverse, like, I tried to watch the Zack Snyder Justice League for a second time. And it's just like, I already committed those 4 hours that one time.
For a second time,
I can't get my life back. I'm not doing it again. And I just watched like a 5-minute behind the scenes feature. And even that, I was just like, they were losing from the beginning, you know? Just nothing was working for them. And so the fact that the internet, and God love the internet, like, I know sometimes you're very passionate about something and you really want it to succeed, but I just feel like it's one of those things that became too like so much bigger than it actually was, and then it just became this thing that sucked people in, and so now everyone's
it's more about the movement than the actual content.
Yes, and it's just like, I'm not talking shit about Zack Snyder. I'm not talking shit about the production. I'm not talking shit about the people that put that movie together. It's just the unfortunate thing is it just didn't work out, and 4 hours didn't make it any better. Yeah. And there was absolutely no need for us to just like jerk it off as much as we did the last couple
years. And objectively, it was not even ever in theater where huge crowd cheering.
Could react to it. Like, how could they?
So you know, thinking about that moment, thinking about Captain America saying Avengers Assemble and the whole crowd going wild, I would love if Justice League had a moment like that for themselves. You know what I mean? But it didn't happen, and it was such a mess that it's just like we need to kind of take a step back. You know what I mean? As the nerddom, as the fandom.
Dude.
Take a step back and just breathe. And
they voted for Army of the Dead for fan favorite movie, and I was like,
get out of here.
That movie was basically spliced together. You know what I mean? Tig Notaro didn't even interact with that entire cast. Yeah. You know?
That's insane. Yeah, because she replaced
Chris D'Elia.
Chris D'Elia.
Yes, and I'm not talking shit about any one of them either. Like, just like...
that movie was not received well either. Yeah, I mean, to call it the movie of the year, favorite movie, I don't know. That's a hard.
If that's their alternative to that god awful idea of doing most popular movie of the year, that doesn't work for me. I'm sorry.
Ed, you don't like that idea, most popular movie?
Well, it just doesn't. I mean, this is what you get. I tell you what.
I agree. I mean, it feels like it's most popular, quote unquote, to the internet.
I mean, but like,
did you see
these stupid fucking people who probably went to Spider-Man and had more of an emotional response to it? They're just like, they will die on this hill that Zack Snyder's movies are so good. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. Like, go away, you parasites. Like, that... The fact that very same scene in the original theatrical release, they both exist, but it was just a different green screen. It's just like, fuck right off. You know, I'm sorry. It's just absurd. And I'm sorry that we're wasting so much time on it, because like there were actually some good people, good movies that won. Which we should get to soon.
Okay, I'll leave it at this note, and then we can
go ahead.
on.
Sorry, Luis.
Yes, we'll move on. But the fact that this movie, the Justice League Zack Snyder, on IMDb, it has it winning at the Academy Awards now, like because of this thing. If you go to IMDb and look at all the awards winning section, it is now listed.
Yeah,
an
Academy Award winning Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah,
as if you need to give that man.
Let's talk about. Let's talk about the movie that did win Best Picture. Coda. Okay, I love you, Coda.
What a wonderful treat. What a wonderful treat to end the night, honestly.
It was really nice. And when I watched that movie, Ed, you watched it, and then you said you loved it, you were crying, and I was like, okay, we'll see about that. And I put it on, and I cried. And then after the end of it, I was like, you know what? And I still didn't see a lot of other Academy Award movies. I saw probably like 4 other ones at the time, including Coda.
That's a lot.
And I was
saw them all. Okay.
You know what? I think this is the one. This is the one. Okay, I will say I've seen them all now too, except for Drive My Car. I only got to watch them all.
We're not doing it.
I'll just say good luck.
Okay.
Good luck, Luis.
No, I watched them all. I watched.
No, I just mean good luck getting through Drive My Car.
Oh yeah, we'll see about that. So, but yeah, no. When at the end of it, I was like, I want this one to win, and I'm so happy that
it was, especially for the night that we got. It was definitely just like a nice, warm, genuine moment where it was like the little movie that could, honestly, because that movie, considering the journey, and Luis, I don't know if you listened to that DGA podcast I sent you.
I did.
Yeah,
yes.
The journey for this film, especially the passion from the director it was really kind of inspiring, honestly. Like all direct, like visually, nothing new or whatever, but like it really honed in on what it was the story it was telling.
Yes.
And it was so impactful. Like definitely, like I don't know if I've just ever sobbed so much. Like I was like, when we were watching it together, Sarah and Sarah has a picture of me covering my face with a pillow because I was crying so hard. Anyway, but it was just like so rewarding. I don't know. It was just like, it was heartfelt. It was genuine and just so well done. That cast deserves it. And I was so happy because if The Power of the Dog had won, I would have just been like, okay, see you next year, Oscars. Thanks for the memories.
Yeah. No, truly. I mean, it was like it was beautiful hearing her talk, and it makes me. That's the kind of stuff that makes me excited about making movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, there was a point when she was saying, like, hey, if I don't get these specific things, if we don't get actual showcase the
ASL actors,
the ASL deaf community,
yeah,
then I don't want to do it. Like, I would rather just not do the movie if we're not going to like be true to its form. And there was one point where she was talking about the concert where they cut the music out entirely. And the sound designers were like, no, we should put like a low buzz or a low like bass. And she was just like super adamant about like, no, I want it to be super quiet. I want there to literally be no noise.
Yeah.
And she fought these people about it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so admirable because it was an effective moment when it happened. It was, it felt uncomfortable. And I've got to realize like, oh my God, this truly is what it's like. And that's what going to the movies is about, is having that impact.
Experiencing it through another perspective. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because Luis, you made a couple comments that. Let me start by saying I did not watch the movie. Okay, I think I watched maybe 2 Oscar movies this season. If let's go ahead and just like lay it out on the table. If the 3 of us, like, I'm not the one that's going to be like the big Oscar movie pusher.
Yeah.
And that's my vibe. That's okay.
We love you anyway.
I'm just general Joe Blow, average American.
That's right.
No
we need
deal.
that point of view.
That's right. I'm watching Avengers, or I'm not watching anything at all.
He's watching Morbius this weekend.
Ooh, fuck, you know what? It looks like shit, but I'll fucking be there. No, Luis, you were just saying like that's what makes me feel like going to the movies is like this inspirational yada yada yada. But this movie came out. I didn't see it. This movie came out on Apple TV, their streaming service, right?
Yeah.
To me, when I see a streaming service product, and it's something I've kind of touched on a little bit of everything, I just don't really get that same vibe. I remember, like, when I actually sat down and watched the trailer after we were talking about this movie for the award season, I was just like, yeah, it just looks like a general streaming service movie. And the fact I'm talking on the outside, I didn't actually watch it, so I could be way wrong. But yeah, I mean, just like on the outside looking in, it just looks like a very general. It looks very, I don't want to say syrupy, because some digital shows look really syrupy.
Sure.
This one just looked very produced. You know what I mean? Like, and so when I think of those like big Oscar-winning movies, I think of just like this craft, and we're filming on film, and we're on location, and we're this and we're that. And so just watching the trailer, I didn't get that vibe. And that's just kind of like my comment on streaming movies in general. Like, I do feel like a little bit of a quality loss as far as like the spectrum of film. But I'm also not hating on it either. You know what I mean? It does seem like a great way to celebrate deaf actors, the deaf community. I am kind of liking what you're saying about a director who's also very passionate and saying like, I want this regardless of what you think we should do. Like, this is how I see it.
Yeah.
And so I can respect that kind of craftsmanship to the product itself. I'm just like I'm still a little hesitant on the whole streaming service.
Going into it,
the thing is like
no, go ahead, Luis.
Go for it.
No, you go.
I was just saying, like, when I was watching it, I was like, okay, we'll see, and it's kind of like those that are like when you're eating Thai chili, okay, and you're eating it, and then it hits you with the heat later, and then you're like, damn, this is hot. it was kind of the same situation where it snuck up on you with how much it was building.
Absolutely.
Like it's kind of like Story 101. But it does it so well that by the end, it's effective because it's built all these things around real characters and a real setting, and you can feel like she has studied it and she does respect it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, as you're talking, I'm telling myself, let's come back around positively to this. You know what I mean? Yeah. I am sitting here thinking, the first time I saw the movie Mr. Holland's Opus, which deals with something kind of similar. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie.
I have not, actually, but I'm so amused that you have.
You ready to talk about it, baby? Let's go.
Let's hear it.
No, the first time I ever saw Mr. Holland's Opus, which I'm pretty sure was like a film, like a theatrical release, was like on TV. ABC used to run, like, back before streaming, used to run like a ABC Sundays or Saturdays or something where they would play a movie. And so the first time I ever saw Mr. Holland's Opus was like on just regular television, commercials interrupting every like 3 minutes kind of deal. And so I'm sitting here talking shit about streaming services, but that's just kind of like the day and age we're in. And if I can watch a movie like Mr. Holland's Opus on cable TV and sit through the commercials and the edits and all this and that, and still walk away with like a very positive, you know what I mean, experience from the movie, then okay, I guess I can kind of come around to streaming services too. So this is like a live, in this moment, Miguel just did some like self-reflection. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Ed, any final thoughts before we?
No, I mean, we could go on and on about Coda, but I mean, like we were listening to on that the DGA Guild Awards podcast, how I going into it, like, at first, there's a couple, you feel like, oh, this feels very cliche. I did roll my eyes once or twice at the very beginning. I was just like, oh boy, here we go. I don't really understand the buzz, but then all of a sudden, like, pow, emotions and humor and just like so much sincerity. And talking about the kind of production value, I also like because our friend Josh Brown was telling me how he thought it looked like a Hallmark movie, and
yes,
I can kind of get that. It's not like a sweeping epic or anything where the cinematography is a master. It's but in the same podcast we're discussing, she was talking about how she had to frame everything to where their signs were seen in the shot. So, like, it wasn't just subtitles, but you could see them actually signing, and every little bit that they signed. It wasn't, and it had to stay on the character while they signed until they finished signing. So it was all, adapted around the deaf actors to be, as again, like you were saying, Luis, as true to that community and to that story that they were telling. And again, I just can only find that admirable. It's like you're gonna have to sacrifice some flair and panache to just hone in on the story at heart, and I think that's what Coda really does best, and rightfully so. It's obviously paid off. So it's an easy watch too. Once you get going on it, it's not a long movie. I don't think there was ever a point where I felt like it was dragging. So Miguel, give it a go.
I tell you what, I was just about to say, I'll watch it this week on my own.
No, watch it with Kristen. Kristen will love it.
I'll take a selfie. And you can see the tears in my eyes. Okay?
Do it.
And there's even a character that no one I hear talk about, but that teacher character is so entertaining that I also think he should have been nominated for supporting, but I know they didn't because they wanted Troy to win. But I really enjoyed the teacher character as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was able to. He was a different.
That was a tough category this year too. Honestly, there's some good nods in there. I thought
a lot of people.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's get into just some of maybe our favorite wins of the night. If there was anything that stood out, we didn't get to see it, but Hans Zimmer got his second Oscar in his career.
Shout out.
First one since The Lion King, which is kind of absurd considering everything he's done in between. But
the cartoon movie, that's the first one?
That's the last time he got an Oscar. Obviously, he's been nominated since, but this is the first time he's won since. So
that's incredible. I mean,
he's one of the greats.
I don't know. So, how do you not reward this person?
Yeah, I know. And we were talking about Troy Kotsur. He had a great speech too. But I was glad he won, even though that one was kind of like in the bag. Same with Ariana DeBose. Good speech, and also well deserved. And
she started off the night pretty strong.
Yeah.
That was my first tweet. I did a tweet of her, like one of her lines, and I was like, all right, I'm tweeting.
She was great.
Yeah. And personally, guys, I am so happy that Jessica Chastain won Best Actress. That category was a toss-up, and I'm not gonna go into like my thoughts on Kristen Stewart or anything. I genuinely did want Jessica Chastain to win. I think she's a great actress, and I think there's been a lot of movies where she was probably worthy or deserving of an Oscar. But I'm just very glad that she got it for this, because she really killed it in this role. The movie was good. It wasn't like a standout by any means, but I would even go so far as to say it didn't really deserve that makeup and hairstyling award. But all that to say, she was good. I'm so glad she got it. She's an Oscar winner now. Yay, go Jessica Chastain.
I was telling my wife, Kristen, that Jessica Chastain's speech, and this is not a knock, this is a compliment. Her Oscar acceptance speech was she just hit like every point of a classy Oscar acceptance speech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very well said, yeah.
Just the way she spoke very genuinely from the heart at the beginning when she was, or maybe it wasn't at the beginning, but when she was talking about the people that helped get her there. And then she referenced Andrew Garfield at some point, saying like, you're my scene partner. So then, she had a cause to talk about, but it didn't feel like, you know what I mean, disingenuous to her. She casually, and not casually, but just like very quietly mentioned it's something that affected her and her family.
Yeah.
And then just being very grateful and gracious about accepting the award. And I was just like, man, Jessica Chastain is like nailing this moment so much more
she classed it back
than
up
than Will Smith did when he accepted his speech. And I'm not trying to talk about it all night, but I was just like, it is, you know what I mean? She came prepared. She came ready to go. She knew what she was doing.
There wasn't any bumbling or just like gasping, how like some people go up there and just like, oh, I just can't believe it, and I'm so excited, and it's like, of course you are. I'm not trying to like downplay anybody's excitement.
And you planned a little bit.
Yeah, like she's prepared for the most kind of just like intimidating and overwhelming moment probably in her life, and she just handled it so well, and she looked gorgeous. I mean,
and you're absolutely
that dress
right
was awesome.
as far as like being deserved. I was one of the notes I took down was that it was her first win, but it was her third nomination.
Yeah,
and it's just like, yeah, Jessica Chastain definitely seems like one of those like Leonardo actors that's like, you deserve it, and we're gonna give it to you. Although separately of Leonardo DiCaprio, hers felt very like a moment to be earned and not just like a legacy award.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like the best, the best of Jessica Chastain is still to come, I feel.
Yep. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Best director.
There was something else I wanted to.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was moving on from the categories. You go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead. No, I mean, I was going to bring up best director, but we already kind of touched on it, and I just don't really care about it.
Listen, just real quick, I kind of think Jane Campion sounds kind of like a little bitchy. I'm not trying to sound like a white man right now, but I just want to say it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Now, like I said, Kevin Costner gave a pretty boring speech. I was pretty bored. I was making comments to Kristen about how bored I was. I did think it was still kind of rude that Jane Campion came up and kind of made some like comment about it, like, oh, that was very dramatic. It felt like, okay,
that's all you felt in that moment.
She might not be comfortable talking on stage. You know what I mean?
The only reason, I would have let it pass, except just a week or two prior, she was talking to I mentioned this last couple of weeks, the Williams sisters, saying like, oh, you have it so hard, but I have it even harder.
Right.
And so it's just kind of like, dude, can you give two tone deaf comments like back to back like that? Like, I'm happy you won. I'm not. I was just rubbed a little.
Given
you're
her,
not my favorite person.
Given her track record, we're probably not going to see another movie from her in like a decade. So,
and fingers crossed. Good luck to her. I'm not talking shit.
Oh yeah.
And I guess to her credit, she's the third woman to win an Oscar for Best Directing. So.
And I'm not even mad about that shit. I'm like, let's go. Let's get those awards for these women. I don't know. I just felt like it was a little rude. Yeah, I just felt like it was a little. But the moment that I actually wanted to bring up was the Lady Gaga moment of the night. First off, just not even trying to talk about snubs. I didn't see the movie. I am kind of surprised she wasn't nominated because for just on the trailers alone, I thought, okay, Lady Gaga's like going for that acting Oscar. I'm surprised she didn't get nominated, but whatever. She brought out Liza Minnelli. This was a big internet moment of the night that I think, had the Will Smith thing not happened, we would have talked even more about.
Yeah.
She brought Liza Minnelli out. Did you guys see this moment?
I did. Yeah, it was awesome.
Louise, I appreciate it. It was awesome. It was also just slightly awkward. Liza Minnelli is of a certain age, and she's, she seemed to kind of struggle with that moment a little bit. But the thing that the internet just kind of melted over was the fact that Lady Gaga held her hand the entire time. Yeah. Every time Liza Minnelli said something that was like clear she was a little lost or just struggling with a moment, Lady Gaga was just so warm and genuine with her. And I remember,
I got you.
Yeah, I got you. That was one of the big comments. Like, I got you. Like, it's okay. And that was right after she had fumbled something and they were trying to like cut to something else. And so it was like a hot mic moment. She said that. So that wasn't even something she was in front of people trying to say. She was just quietly saying that to someone. And I felt like that was a very beautiful moment as far as two humans interacting. And that was, I know you guys talked about Coda being a very heartwarming win. That to me was just a live moment.
Totally.
It was a very heartwarming moment. So that's 2 thumbs up, Lady Gaga. I'm a fan.
I didn't see that. I will say it was a performance at the Oscars that she did, I want to say, in either 2013, 2014, where they were celebrating the anniversary of Sound of Music, and she did a musical performance of, it was like a medley of songs from that movie, and she nailed it, of course. And since then, I've been like Team Gaga, and seeing her in House of Gucci and stuff like that, I'm here for it. Like, she's very earnest but very sincere, and she's obviously incredibly talented. So I just hope to see more roles come her way and more like stuff like House of Gucci, because she rocked that. So like, give her like a Disney villain role or something like that, something for her to really sink her teeth in.
Nail that.
Okay, too excited. But yeah, anyway. I'm going to have to look up that moment now, Miguel, so thank you.
I'm surprised you haven't seen it. It was a good moment.
I've been working my way at rewatching the Oscars. You know, if you're not doing it on the night, it's hard to go back and go beyond like acceptance speeches
That's tough
and
to
stuff.
Go back and rewatch the whole thing.
Exactly. So you're like, okay, all right, here we go. But anyway.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Hit us up, Miguel.
No, I was going to ask.
You're taking us somewhere, and I want to hold your hand and go there.
Hey,
let's talk about a winner that we didn't see, and that's Samuel L. Jackson.
That's where I was going too. I was going Samuel Jackson.
Look at us.
This is why we started a podcast.
Three of us are doing it.
I agree.
That's right. He got awarded a Governor Award for, what was it, like a Lifetime Achievement Award kind of situation?
Man. He deserved it so much before this. You know what I mean? Samuel L. Jackson, that is a cinema legend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
When we talk about one of the moments I wanted to talk about was Lady Gaga specifically saying something about how they were celebrating legends. Kevin Costner was talking about the movies in general, and that was the overall theme of what I missed from the Oscars. That's why I liked that Edgar Wright tweet about just like celebrating film. Mm-hmm. And it's like Samuel L. Jackson has been here for our entire lives, as far as the three of us goes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, basically from the beginning. And how is this the first time he's actually been awarded one of these things, you know?
I know.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
He is such a good performer, and he's done so much in different parts of cinema. You know what I mean? If there's a part, I mean, that's what they made. They were joking about it in the Oscars. Like, you've done everything except for what? Romance comedies or whatever.
Yeah.
But
he could do it.
He could do it, you know what I mean? And the jokes you're making were great, but he's everywhere. And I'm so happy that he was awarded.
So many iconic roles and hairstyles under his belt.
I mean, I'm just honestly one of the we just moved to Colorado, and the house we're staying in, they have cable, so I've been DVRing a lot of movies just because I think it's a fun experience, like a nostalgic experience to like go to the guide channel. One of the movies I recorded and watched over like 4 days because I kept getting distracted was Lakeview Terrace with Samuel L. Jackson. Am I telling you it's the greatest movie ever? No, but I am telling you I had a good time, and I kind of think it was touching on a nerve that was not ready yet, and I think that Jordan Peele absolutely would have done that story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just a little bit ahead of its time. You know what I mean? And Samuel L. Jackson was great in it. So I'm a fan. It doesn't matter if it's like the number one movie you're thinking of or one of the B-list's backsides.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Samuel L. Jackson shows up to work every single time.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I'm happy that he has it. You know, I mean, that's all. I guess that's all I really wanted to talk about was, you know, the Coda and some of the big winners and Samuel L. Jackson. Do you guys want to talk about anything else before we wrap this up? Keep this under 2 hours, huh?
We can do it. We can do it.
Let's play us out by playing a little Samuel L. Jackson game.
Okay. We're gonna play a Samuel L. Jackson game. Do you want to keep notes? What we're gonna do is we're gonna go around the table here, and we're all gonna name one Samuel L. Jackson movie, and we'll see who's left standing. Okay. Ed, you are going to keep notes, making sure that we have no repeats. Yep. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna start it off.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Wait. Who's gonna go? So, Luis, you're 1. Ed's 2.
I'm 1.
I'm 3.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
Ed, you're 2. Okay. Go ahead.
Ed, you're 2.
All right.
Okay.
Go for it.
Peter 3. Peter 3. Okay. Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace, baby.
Oh, good one. Pulp Fiction. Yeah, gotta go there.
Django Unchained.
Okay.
Avengers.
Hateful Eight.
Black Snake Moan.
Ooh, yeah.
Snakes on a Plane.
Yes.
Oh.
Sum of All Fears.
Samuel L. Jackson's not in Sum of All Fears.
Isn't that the one with Ben Affleck?
No, that's Morgan Freeman, you fuck.
What am I thinking of? Oh my god!
Not Samuel L. Jackson, bro.
Are you sure? I've got to look this up.
I've seen Sum of All Fears 100 times. It is not Samuel L. Jackson.
Sum of All Fears. Can I give another answer?
Master.
Can I give another answer?
You lost. No, go ahead.
Deep Blue Sea.
He is in Deep Blue Sea.
He is in Deep Blue Sea. He's
That's a good one.
That's definitely Morgan Freeman. Hey.
I will say, just a quick tangent, him getting killed in Deep Blue Sea was one of the most early shocking moments of cinema history for me as a child.
Oh, scary.
Him getting eaten by that shark. Oh, I never saw it coming. Okay.
We're going to band together, and we're going to beat this thing, and then gobble.
Bro, I'm telling you,
Nightmares.
watch that movie.
Nightmares.
Okay, here's mine.
Okay.
Frozone, The Incredibles.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, very good. Well, I'm going to just steal it and say Incredibles 2.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right,
it's going to be taken. I might as well take
Captain America Winter Soldier.
I hate this. I don't like this branch of the game.
Okay.
It's too easy. I'm going to come up with a different one. The Negotiator.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to keep up with all of these Marvel movies. Goodfellas. Goodfellas.
He is. Okay. Jackie Brown.
Yes.
He
one
is
of my personal
also,
faves.
I just had it and it went away. Oh, The Kingsman.
Yeah, yes. Okay.
Another movie where he's kind of like scene chewing, you know what I mean?
It's
still really good.
He's like the super bad guy with a lisp. He's so good. Yeah. Kill Bill Volume 2.
Nice. Jurassic Park.
Oh, yes.
Hold on to your butt.
Nice. That was a good one. That's a good one.
We already said Winter Soldier, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And you said Civil War. So...
I'm going to challenge both of you to not name another Avengers movie after this.
It has to be said. It has to be said.
There are too many.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to say Endgame.
Okay. So Unbreakable.
Changing Lanes.
Glass.
Oh, yeah. The sequel. Shit. The Other Guys?
Excuse me, it's a trilogy.
He was in The Other Guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good Well.
Oh, God.
Actually, looking back, it's problematic. But
no, please don't fall on me. I don't want to pick an Avengers movie. I just watched it today. Captain America 2, Winter Soldier. Did we say that?
Yeah, I said that,
you
said
bitch.
That
there you go. No, fuck yourself, okay? Because you said
Some of
All Fears.
Yeah,
I can say
but I didn't say it twice,
Yeah.
So where are we at?
I'm blanking. The only other one I can think of is he did one with Bernie Mac, but I can't remember the name of that movie.
I don't
he
know
also did one
doing.
where he was the president and the Air Force One crash landed in some foreign country.
Some of All Fears 2.
That was it.
Are you done? Or you got to think of one, right? I have one.
Let's hear it. You might win this, Luis. For the win.
The next one's. I have them ready to go. It's Spider-Man: Far From Home.
I fucking hate you. All right.
Okay, Ed.
God.
Oh, I got one.
Let's see.
The best one.
There's one where he's like this rogue colonel. I want to say John Travolta's in it, but I'm blanking on
Yes!
But I can't think of a name, so I might...
Can I tell you what it is?
Yeah, do it.
It's Basic.
It's what?
Basic,
yes.
Like you're basic.
Yeah, man. Okay, I am well and truly out. I've faltered twice.
I got another one.
Let's hear it.
I had one.
Oh, you got one to go.
It was Die Hard 3.
Yes, that's a good one.
God.
That's a good one.
That was one of the best ones.
All right, Ed. You got one. All right, I'm setting you up right here, okay?
Okay.
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Uh-huh.
The Revenge of the Sith. Now you go.
The Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Okay, good job. Good job, everyone.
I actually forgot you had mentioned Star Wars earlier, so I forgot to come around to that.
I feel like I'm blanking, and I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night and go, "Motherfucker, he was in one other movie."
But you're gonna say it like Samuel L. Jackson.
For our audience's sake, I'll bow out. Thank you guys for listening. Samuel L. Jackson, love you guys.
Yeah, I think I'm out of nerd stuff now. So let me think. Give me a second. Let's see. Samuel L. Jackson, motherfucker. Where is he in? We did Incredibles. I'm seeing his face, and he's mad, and he's the Hitman's Bodyguard.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
The Hitman's Bodyguard's wife. And Ed's back in the game.
How haven't you said Captain Marvel yet? He was in Captain Marvel.
Oh
too.
Yeah, he was a big
Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. Are you back in the game? Are you taking it?
No, I'm out. I'm ready to go to bed.
Inglourious Bastards. I'll say that one too.
Oh.
It's only vocal. It's only a vocal cameo.
I was just about to say I was blanking.
Oh yeah.
He's talking about the film and how flammable it is.
He was also in Bruce Almighty.
Oh, are you sure? That was Morgan Freeman, Miguel.
That was Morgan Freeman, right?
My God.
Were you trying to trick me?
I've seen that movie so many times.
I deserve that. Ooh. Okay, but you know what? It was the sum of all fears. For some reason, I was mixing that up with Basic because all I could picture was him in that beret, and then I thought, yeah, and I was like, oh well, that's a military movie. That's Samuel L. Jackson. So,
you stupid idiot.
Yeah. On that note,
I think we did it. I think we named as many Samuel Jackson movies that we could. Tweet us at the ones that we forgot at Punch Drunk Nerd, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. We're under 2 hours. Can you believe it? Next week, maybe we'll just do it at 1. Who knows? But I tell you what, next week we're definitely going to talk about Moon Knight. We're going to talk about something else. Who knows? Until next time, say goodbye, Miguel.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Ed.
Bye-bye.
And later, Gators. You get that? That's for Moon Knight.
Yeah, you should have done it in a bad English accent.
Later, Gators.
In my dreams.
In my dreams.
Later, Gators.